The Phoenix Suns are in the finals after 28 years, and it's thanks in part to Devin Booker's astounding debut in the playoffs. The Kentucky alum drew attention this postseason for his electrifying shot-making, playmaking, and interesting water bottle choices. That blend of scoring at will and distributing the ball has been a majority of catalysts in the Suns' successful season, and they look to win the Valley's first championship in franchise history. What do the league's greatest have to say about DBook's ascent? Let's take a look. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you never miss another interesting video from us. Devin Booker was drafted 13th overall in the 2015 NBA draft by the Suns. He was billed as the best shooter of the draft class, but future Hall of Famer who got to play against him sensed something more than just being a shooter. When Kobe Bryant, one of Booker's idols growing up, faced him during his final season, the Lakers star was impressed by young Book's confidence. He loved how DBook went straight at him with Kobe's own move to start saying, "That's how I went against MJ." The then Phoenix rookie left such a big impression on Bryant that he signed his shoes after the game with one message: be legendary. Another Hall of Famer who was high on Booker was Dwayne Wade, who said after a game against the Suns in 2016 that if he continues taking steps, he's going to be very, very good.
He got a great future in this league. He's tough. He didn't shy away from contact. He didn't shy away from the matchup.
Devin Booker's 70-point performance sent shockwaves around the league, with legends and current players marveling at the history they witnessed. Chauncey Billups tweeted after the game that Booker let everyone know who's next, while Wade jested that Book basically just said the league was that easy. Over the next few years, Booker would gain more and more respect from the game's greatest. When Steve Nash sat down with Booker for a feature for ESPN, he called his game poetry in motion, noting Book's growth from a pure shooter to a scorer. As Booker blossomed into one of the most talented stars in the league, more and more fans, current and former players, bought into the hype train. However, other people didn't seem to get the memo, especially the folks involved in the AllStar selection. Time after time, Booker would get snubbed from the reserved list. And his first AllStar selection was him being a replacement for Damian Lillard. It got particularly irksome for some of Book's biggest fans in the league when he was once again snubbed this season, and they voiced their frustrations on social media. LeBron James, who back in 2016 already pegged Booker as the best rising star in the NBA, tweeted out that Booker was the most disrespected player in the NBA. Big words coming from the king himself. If you're wondering, second most disrespected for Bron was Lillard. So that's elite company. Book's own backcourt mate, Chris Paul, earned an All-Star nod, but he said it was a bittersweet selection. Their team went where Booker went, and so he felt that he should have gotten a selection with him at the very least. Booker is an All-Star. Gilbert Arenas believed that Booker definitely deserved a spot in the All-Star game, and questioned in his podcast, how does Zion get picked over Devin Booker? Noting that the two players have rather similar stats at that point. Coming into the 2021 NBA playoffs, many fans had questioned for the second-seeded Phoenix Suns, and specifically for Devin Booker. How would the former Kentucky guard play in his first ever taste of the postseason? Could he step up to the pressures of being the #1 guy for a championship-caliber team? Can he live up to the expectations set for him by many after his performance in the bubble? Their first test was against the defending champions, LeBron and the Lakers. Despite the Suns being the higher-seeded team, many viewed them as underdogs. Why? Well, because it's LeBron freaking James. Despite that, Booker and company knocked out the champions in an upset win, with Booker having a magnificent first playoff series, averaging almost 30 points per game on hyper-efficient shooting. After the series, Charles Barkley, former Phoenix star and part of the last Phoenix lineup to reach the finals, commended Booker for stepping up to the plate against the league's best. It must be nice to be praised by your team's greatest player of all time. After that was Denver. a highly anticipated matchup that was expected to be a close series. Instead, we got something else, a complete destruction of Nikola Jokic's team ending in an anticlimactic sweep. After Game 2 of that series, Shaquille O'Neal commented on Reggie Miller, saying Booker was Kobe-like, agreeing fully with that notion. It's one thing when Stephen A. Smith says you're the next Kobe, but when one of Kobe's best teammates who played with him during his prime says you're Kobe-like, that's incredibly high praise. And then Game 1 against the Clippers happened. Losing Chris Paul for a few days due to an unfortunate positive COVID test was going to be brutal for a Suns team that only ran 2 guys at point guard the entire postseason. Relying on a new player to the rotation during the first game of the Western Conference Final was a risky endeavor, so Monty Williams decided on a different plan. Let Booker run the show, and Booker delivered. Playing 44 minutes, the Suns star erupted for an efficient 40-point triple-double to carry them past the Clippers. He got a big standing ovation, and perhaps the greatest achievement of all time, getting a Magic Johnson tweet about you. 2 tweets, in fact. Game 4 of the finals against Milwaukee was a brutal game for the Suns and Booker. Despite a 42-point bounce-back game from DBook, foul trouble in the fourth and a lackluster showing from his supporting cast allowed the Bucks to tie up the series at 2-2. In an article for The Undefeated, Isaiah Thomas sang Booker's praises, saying that not only was he good, but that is what you expect from the great players when they have a great game. At this level, you expect for them to bounce back the way he bounced back. Tonight, he solidified how great a player he is. Paul Pierce, speaking after the Bubble Suns' insane 8-0 winning streak, predicted that Devin Booker would be the best player for a championship caliber lineup. Lo and behold, the prophecy has been fulfilled, and Book has emerged as part of a deadly duo that can win an NBA crown. Booker's meteoric rise to greatness in the playoffs has left many people salivating at what else he can do. Many have already crowned him the next Kobe Bryant, but Robert Horry, former Los Angeles Laker and teammate of Bryant, says the comparisons are disrespectful to both Kobe and what Devin Booker can do in the future. And while it may seem, at first, like Horry is dissing the Sun star, it's hardly the case. Comparisons to legends can be both humbling and demeaning at the same time. It's definitely an honor to be compared so much to someone like Kobe or Magic or Larry Bird. However, oftentimes it can also feel like the player being compared to a legend is living in the shadow of someone. Devin Booker plays like Kobe. Yes, he thinks like Kobe. He took inspiration from Kobe, but he can be also so much more than just a Kobe clone. Horry is saying that Book doesn't need to be the next Black Mamba, and that we shouldn't force that narrative. He's the first Devin Booker, and he's going to write his own story in his own ways. If you liked my video, please hit the like button as it means so much for my channel. Also, if you have suggestions for my next video, please leave it in the comments. Until the next time.